what the next steps are for us. Okay, all right, so tonight we are going to be revisiting our reopening plan. This is part 2. We're going to talk about our operational decisions once again, and some of what you will see tonight will be repetitive from what we talked about a few weeks ago, but we're providing updates to that. We're going to be addressing some of the frequently asked questions and providing updates, and then just reviewing our college prep operations for those of you who are new to our OCASA family. But I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We have had multiple meetings over the last few months, and the information continues to change. It continues to evolve. The guidance has changed, and you have been patient and right there along with us as we've worked through it. So tonight we want to give you those additional updates that have taken place since last Friday. Actually, things changed rapidly in less than a week. And those frequently asked questions that come up tonight, we will be adding those to that document and posting it for your review later. So as we've made our operational decisions, we are once again considering all of the laws and the guidance that are coming from the state, from the Department of Education, the California Department of Public Health, and the Orange County Department of Public Health. Sometimes the guidance is conflicting, so we're making sure that we are acting in the best interest of our families. And now we have a new piece that we're looking at. This was brought up on Friday by the governor. He rolled out a blueprint for a safer economy. I'm going to take a break and allow that person in. Here we go. And I'm sure many of you have looked at this since then. And as we worked through the information over the weekend, we have learned with those 4 tiers that he presented, we are currently in the widespread or purple tier, which is the lowest tier that you can be in. We have the potential to move up to the substantial tier on Tuesday, September 8th, which had been our planned opening date. So to be very clear, we are not opening school on Tuesday. We are not able to do so at this time. And we have to remain in the substantial tier for 2 weeks before we would be able to reopen. So the soonest date that we would be able to reopen our school, at least in person, would be Tuesday, August 22nd. So in the meantime, we will be monitoring the updates. They will be weekly updates. They look at them on Tuesdays, and we will continue to progress as according to the governor's blueprint as we look at what comes next for us.
Principal Fioretto, can you just confirm that that is in fact supposed to be September 22nd?
Oh my gosh, yes, yep, thank you. I'm going to rewrite that right now. There we go. Thank you. I missed that. I appreciate you seeing that for me. Tuesday, September 22nd. Yes, like, you know, when you read it, you know something's wrong, but I appreciate that. So here's what it's going to look like if we're able to open on the 22nd, or if we're able to open in the future. We are going to have a phased return to campus. We are going to start with phase 1. And that phase, hold on just a minute while I admit another person. There we go. And that phase for that week, tentatively the week of the 22nd, will be for those students who require assessments, or those who need to finish IEP meetings, which were started in the spring, and for any other services that our students who are in special education would require to get started. This also includes initial assessments with the LPAC for our families who are new to the California public school system, who have not been identified as either initially fluent or as an English language learner. Phase 2 would take place on the 28th of September, and we will be bringing back to campus just the 8th and 9th grade students who want to be in person. We're going to give us some time to take them through the procedures and give them an opportunity to walk the campus. And we don't know what we don't know because it's a new campus. This will give us an opportunity to practice with those students and allows them to provide that example to the students from 6th and 7th grade when they come on campus with everybody in week 3. So phase 3 would be all of the students who wanted to be on campus, and that would be October 5th before we would have everybody here. I do want to note, and I think there's another person. I do want to note for all of you that the safest option is to remain at 100% online instruction and to do distance learning. Anyone who wants to continue doing online instruction will be able to do so. If you return to campus and you want to be full day in person, the staff will be on campus and the students will be on campus from approximately 8:30 a.m. to 3:15. We were on campus today and the teachers were busy preparing the classrooms this week. We did a little dry walkthrough with the instruction. We did some walking on campus between classes, and we found that we're probably going to need to adjust that bell schedule by about 10 minutes total for the day. We want to make sure we're providing enough time to accommodate social distancing and safe transitions between the classrooms. We will have up to 16 students on campus and in those classrooms. And as we're looking at setting up the desks and reconfiguring the classrooms, that is the maximum number of students that we will be able to house in each classroom. Our cohort 2, which is our online cohort, will be joining cohort 1 online using Google Meet as they have been. There will be 9 students in each of these cohorts. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to support those students who are part of the online distance learning cohort. I have someone who tried to come in. I don't see them. Okay. All right. So our reopening plan notifications will come in during phase 1 week for your placement, whether your student is in person or will be virtual. And that first week is still to be determined, but once we get there, or if we can do it sooner, we will make sure we share that information with you. We're making sure that we're balancing cohorts. There may be a need to move your student from 7, like if they're in a 7A cohort, we might need to move them to 7B to balance out the numbers of students in the classrooms. So we are keeping the cohorts together so that when they're on campus, there is less interaction with the students in between the different cohorts. We also will share with you the updated bell schedule, and we will give you that within 1 week of the opening school for phase 1 for your planning. So if we are able to open on the 22nd, it will be the week before that we're sharing this information with you. A lot of questions have come up about how are these students who will be participating virtually going to be supported. The teachers in the classroom, they are managing the students in the classroom, and they are managing the students who will be virtual. So to help serve that, we will be installing Google Meet software. Google Meet hardware in each classroom. For those of you who have participated in our board meetings, this is the same hardware that we are using for those meetings. This hardware will allow two-way audio and video conversations between teachers and their virtual students. In addition, those virtual students will be able to see the students who are in class. They will see what's going on during class. They will be active participants in that. And the in-person students will also be able to see the virtual students, creating an environment that is much like a classroom and making it as normal as it can, but it will allow them to participate actively in that classroom. We have one set being installed now, and we are working on the rest of it prior to opening up. Students will be able to observe the live instruction through the camera that is included with this. And we want to make sure you understand that students are expected to be active participants when they are in class. And that includes the discussions that are happening, and they can do that through the Google Meet hardware. Currently, we're having a little bit of trouble with some of the students participating. So we're looking for parent support to make sure that your students are participating, that their cameras are on. It is the only way we know that they're actively participating and doing what we're asking them to do during class. During this time, students will also be participating in breakout groups. I know that they're doing that now, and there are some technical pieces that are still being worked out, but they will continue to do this, and it's important for them to be there to participate in that collaborative piece. There is no other way for them to have the collaboration with the other students who are in the classroom. So how else can they be supported? Remember that instruction will continue to be recorded. It is the instruction piece only that will be recorded. And if your student is absent, they can email the teacher and request a link to that recording, or if they want to watch it again to make sure that they get the clarification they need. During SDL, or self-directed learning, students can participate actively in workshops that are led by the teacher. There is time for one-on-one teacher support, and there is time to work on projects both collaboratively and individually, as well as take their focus area assessments. And during homeroom, they're not only doing SDL, but they are participating in one-on-one mentoring every week with their assigned mentor.
Principal Fioretto, would you mind clicking the present button so
Sure.
the slides are a little bit larger? Thank you.
Sorry about that. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So here are some requirements for those students who do come to campus. We are going to require them to remain socially distanced. They do need to wear masks, and they will be asked to sanitize their hands and participate in hand washing. So we're going to walk through each one of those a little bit. In social distancing, our classrooms allow for approximately 16 students and 2 adults. The teachers are organizing the classrooms to put 6 feet between the desks and the students, as well as the teachers. They are developing routines to create physical distancing patterns as they transition around campus, and that is the same for the classroom. They will enter a certain way, they will exit a certain way, and these students will practice this. It will be much like the first week of school when they're in elementary school and they walk campus. It is critical that these students are taught how to social distance, and our teachers are working out curriculum to be able to do that and to practice with their students. This is another reason for the phased-in process of bringing students to campus. We want to make sure that those protocols are in place and that they are working for our students. Due to the need to socially distance, and we have a very small campus, we will have no volunteers or visitors allowed on campus. And all of our meetings will take place virtually. So we will be continuing meetings like this. If you have IEP meetings, they will be virtual. If we need to have teacher meetings or principal meetings, all of those meetings will take place virtually. And masks will be required for adults and for students, unless they have a medical condition. In order to have a medical exemption, you have to have a medical condition for whom wearing a face covering, and this is quoted from the guidance, where the face covering could obstruct breathing, or those people who are unconscious, incapacitated, or otherwise unable to remove a face covering without assistance. If this is the case and we have a doctor's note, adults and students will still be required to wear a face shield during the school day. Hand sanitizing is another critical piece of keeping our students safe. Hand sanitizing dispensers will be mounted on the wall at the entry to every classroom, and that is being worked on as we speak. Students will be expected to use the hand sanitizer upon entering and exiting the classroom. In addition, there are sinks in every classroom. Students are able to get up and use that sink as long as they're able to maintain social distancing during class time. Here are some other safety precautions that have been put into place. Last week, the Capital Unified School District installed MERV 13 filters to every AC unit on campus. I was actually there and watched them do this. That is a very high level of a filter, which is meant to filter out the virus. We are adding janitorial and custodial service to our campus. We will have a day porter who will be there for about 4 hours a day to frequently clean those high-touch areas, walking around, touching handles, doorknobs, anything that might be touched frequently outside. They will also be cleaning and sanitizing the lunch tables after nutrition and after lunch. This janitor, the day porter, will be cleaning restrooms throughout the day. They will be monitoring it and walking in and out occasionally to make sure that we're wiping down those high-touch areas again. And every night, our campus will be cleaned and sterilized so that it's ready for school the next day. Our janitorial vendor, which is something new this year, will be supplying classroom hand sanitizer dispensers, making sure that they come and refill them weekly, providing extra material if we need it. They are providing paper towel dispensers that will be folded like you see in this picture so the students don't have to touch the machine to be able to get a hand towel. They will be providing toilet paper, hand soap, disinfecting, and sanitizing solutions for our custodial staff to be able to use. The disinfecting and sanitizing solutions will also be made available to our teachers so that they may be able to use them in the classrooms. They will be locked away from students. It is an adult-only product. In addition, we are adding hands-free flushing devices in the bathroom so the students no longer need to touch toilets, and sink mats to absorb any extra water that splashes and also to maintain more sanitary conditions in the bathrooms and in the classrooms where the sinks are. Temperature checks are something that continue to be a question. And as we discussed previously, OCASA will not be checking temperatures when staff and students arrive on campus. Here is a place where we're asking you to partner with us. Take your students' temperature in the morning, monitor their symptoms. Are they feeling ill that day? If they have a fever, keep them home. If they're feeling well enough, they can join class virtually. They're not missing instruction, but they do not, and they should not come to class if they have a fever when they wake up in the morning. This information should also be transmitted to the school using our Parent Square health screening tool. And it is under construction. We're putting it together right now, and we're going to give you instructions and a link to the screening tool before you come to campus. You will be able to answer a few quick questions about your student's health. It helps us understand why your student isn't there if they're absent, and it also helps us know that you are helping us monitor the safety of our students who are on campus. Should a student become ill or starts to run a fever during the day, we will then take a student's temperature. We have a room where we can isolate the students to minimize the risk of exposure to others, and we will notify families to pick up students as soon as possible. Please make sure that you're available for a student pickup should that be an issue. We want to make sure that we're getting them off campus as quickly as possible to minimize the amount of exposure that happens on our campus. When someone tests positive for COVID-19 on our campus, we will notify families within that child's classroom and notify the OCASA community as well. If anyone in your family tests positive for COVID-19 or has been exposed to someone who's tested positive, we need you to keep your student at home for 14 days. We will assist with transition to distance learning during this time, and we'll also help with that transition when they're ready to return to the classroom, if that is their choice. Individual school closure might be appropriate, and here's what the language is and how we determine that. If there are multiple cases in multiple cohorts, meaning multiple classrooms have positive tests for COVID in their classroom, or when at least 5% of the total number of teachers, students, and staff have cases that are active within a 14-day period. We are a very small school. It doesn't take very many students for that to happen. These decisions to close a school are made in consultation with our local health officer, and we will continue to monitor the guidance from California and Orange County Departments of Health. And you can already see that the advice has changed since just a couple of weeks ago, and we'll continue to adjust our policies as needed. So going back to this again, the safest route is for your student to remain at home and in distance learning. We will be serving lunch at our school. It will be provided by Capistrano Unified School District Lunch Services. Students will be eating outside. We had beautiful tables delivered to our campus just a couple of weeks ago. We are able to spread them out already, so there's plenty of room between those tables and where the students will be sitting, and eating outside is much safer for everyone. And if your student is distance learning, you may order lunches and pick them up at the campus. Physical education will take place on campus, and we will do everything we can to follow the guidelines. We have our PE teacher who is full-time and credentialed, and he's working. I've watched him in the classes. I don't know if you've seen any of it, but the kids actually work out for him. It's really fun to watch that. But they will participate in PE outside. We have a very large field. We're easily able to socially distance those students when they're participating in PE. And masks will not be required during physical exertion because we are outdoors and because we are able to physically distance those students to make it safe for them. Here's something that you might want to start thinking about if you are intending to return to campus. You need to have a uniform for PE. We do not have changing rooms, so students will come to school on the days that they have PE dressed ready for PE. The PE uniform is a spirit shirt or a t-shirt in the band color. And the green is for grades 6, 7, and 8, and our navy blue is for grade 9. There are spirit shirts available from Dennis Uniforms, so you can order one from there, or you can have a green or navy blue colored t-shirt to wear for PE. And for shorts, we recommend the elastic waist. This comes straight from our students who say the button-up is not good for what we're doing. So we recommend that you get the shorts that have the elastic waistband for your students' comfort and for the best ability to move, because they definitely move during PE. So start and end times, we'll go back and review that just a little bit for you. Again, we have approximately 8:30 will be our start time every day, but the end time is approximate right now until we figure out exactly how much time we need for passing period. Approximately 3:04 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and approximately 1:10 on Thursdays. And that is after lunch period, so the students are able to eat lunch on campus before they go home. This allows enough time for students to be dropped off at OCASA Charter in Laguna Niguel and still arrive on time in San Juan for your students to be on time for class. Reminder that Dennis Uniforms is one place that you can purchase uniforms for your students. These uniforms are not optional. When they are on campus, they must wear the uniform. And they are the same for both a college prep and OCASA Charter. You can see the uniform guidelines on our website, and you can purchase there or you can purchase elsewhere as long as it's the same color and style as our uniforms. They do not have to have the OCASA emblem on them. And we do encourage our students who are participating online to be in uniform also. They will be joining a cohort that is in uniform, so it'll be important for them to have the same things going on at home. And all of our students will be located, if they're coming in person, on our San Juan campus. Again, we have 6 classrooms plus administrative offices, and our campus is fully enclosed by fencing. Restrooms are for our students only. There will be a 1 person at a time in the restroom policy as best as we can to make sure that we're keeping students as socially distanced as possible. We will share the fields with the other programs, but in my conversations with them, they don't plan to use them right now, so we'll be able to use the huge field space for our own students and keep them safe and socially distanced from each other. As a reminder, green band students are our 6th through 8th grade students, and our blue band students are our 9th grade students. Our 8th grade class is currently full, but I do have a few spots left in 6th and 7th grade, and I'm looking for a few more 9th grade students. If you know people who want to join us, please have them reach out to admissions at OCASAcollegeprep.org, or they can reach out to me and I can send them in that direction. Our core subjects are taught at grade level and differentiated. I've had some questions about our math track. The only exception to that is an opportunity for accelerated track, but this is for grades 7 through 9 only. We do not have the capacity to do this for 6th grade students. So if you are new to us and you are interested in that accelerated track, please reach out to me so we can have that conversation and look at placement for your student. And all students will be participating in physical education, so please help your students be ready and encourage them to participate in those classes. I'm already hearing great things about Project Lead the Way. I've gotten some emails from our families saying how much fun they're having in there. All of our students are participating in that. In our 6th through 8th grade, it's gateway classes, and 9th grade is working on computer science essentials. And Spanish is only for our 8th and 9th grade students this year. We felt strongly that 6th and 7th graders really needed an opportunity to onboard with Summit and learn how to effectively use that tool, particularly with our students who are joining us virtually. So 8th and 9th grade students have a formal Spanish program this year. 6th and 7th grade students have the opportunity to participate in an additional SDL or self-directed learning section to support their work in the classroom and also assessment taking. What's next for us? Besides thinking that we will likely be able to start on the 22nd, but that could change, we will be holding back to school night and follow that with our Parent University and Summit 101, and that will take place on the 17th, 2 weeks from tonight, so please mark your calendars. Back to school night will begin at 5:00 p.m. for everybody. And following that, for those of you who would like to stay and join us for Parent University, which I recommend for all students or all families who are new and don't understand Summit, this is for parents, come and learn how to use Summit so that you can understand and better support your students. And that will begin at 6:00 p.m. following our back to school night. We have one more change that I want you to be aware of. We have a calendar change in October. Our Summit Learning team does 2 days of professional development in October and 2 in March for our staff, for everybody. So they're all absent from school on those 2 days. Originally, we had thought those days would be the 19th and the 20th, and those are non-student days, so the teachers can go to professional development. That has been moved, we just found out this week, to October 26th and 27th. So please change your calendars. This will also be updated in Parent Square. These are non-student days. There will be no instruction on those 2 days. So please be sure to plan accordingly. So what else can I answer for you? Tonight, if I don't get to your questions or you have more, I'm going to step out of the presentation so I can look at your questions, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to help me with that a little bit in case I miss them. But please feel free to email me at dbfioretto@ocasacollegeprep.org. I do try to get back to you as quickly as possible with everything happening right now. Sometimes it's taking me a day or two. Another thing I'm finding is my email is going to your spam. So please check your spam folders to see if it's in there. And I'm sometimes not getting your email. So if I don't get it the first time, please reach out again or make a phone call. Today there were 2 parents who had said they had emailed me, and I checked spam, I checked my inbox, I searched, and I was not receiving that. So I want to make sure that I'm responding to you. And I apologize if you are one of the parents that I have not received your email. I'm not ignoring you, I'm just not getting those right now. So I'm going to jump back to what can I answer for you and stop presenting right now and come back to all of you. I'm not sure.
Would you like me to read the questions?
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Will you be giving preferences for in-person learning to those students who have both parents who are full-time essential workers?
At this point, we're still talking about how to do those preferences. It looks like, I have to look at the numbers. We're doing an evaluation for that. We need to have a conversation offline. Send me an email so that we can talk about that if that's a preference for you. It wasn't something that we asked about in the survey, so I wouldn't have that information.
What dictates which students get to return to in-classroom model, assuming there are more students opting to return versus space available? A lottery?
There will be a lottery should we have more students who want to return to the classroom than we have space for. Yes, that is how it will be determined.
What is going to happen with the kids that are doing PE at home when the coach is outside with the kids in school? His class right now is great.
That is an excellent question, and I should have brought that up earlier. The plan for that is that Coach Ayorio will be recording a lesson for the students who are attending virtually. It won't be possible for him to manage online students while he's outside with the students. So he will be providing recorded instruction for you so that you can have your students work through that while he's doing live instruction during the school day. Great question. Thank you very much.
Do you have to buy the black shorts from Dennis or any elastic waistband black shorts?
You can buy them anywhere. You have the option to buy them at Dennis if that is what you choose. Again, what we ask is it matches color and style of our uniform pieces, but you do not have to purchase them at Dennis Uniform.
Apologies, I believe you already addressed this, but could you please clarify if the in-classroom instruction still utilizes the distance platform so that students at home are part of the same classroom learning experience?
Yes, that was the Google Meet hardware that we talked about. The students will be able to participate live during the class time. It's the same Google Meet platform that they were on, although there's an additional camera and microphone that allows them to be live active participants in the classroom.
I know I'm getting way ahead, but if we keep our child virtual this year, will we have the option to go back on campus next year?
Absolutely. The word unprecedented has been thrown around so many times, but that is the case. I would definitely revisit all of this next year. We don't know what's going to happen. This could all change in 2 weeks, and next year everything could go back to normal, but we would definitely revisit that next year. We expect our community to grow anyway. With our school, there will be more students, so we would have to redo that.
Are the non-school days for college prep only or all schools?
Is the question about OCASA schools or all schools in general? I can address it with OCASA schools. There will be additional days for OCASA charter. I don't know what those dates are right now. We'll have to let Dr. Beto Schubert answer that question for her school, but that is not something that is district-wide for Capistrano Unified.
If we selected the virtual option on the survey, will there be an opportunity for students to come on campus later this academic school year if the situation with COVID improves?
Again, we're going to monitor the advice that comes from the state and also from the departments of health. If we get clearance to be able to do so, we may be able to do that. I don't know that they'll pull the social distancing restrictions. We will have to wait and see what comes our way and then make an analysis of what is in the best interest for the safety of all of the students. I know that is not a comforting answer, but it is so rapidly changing that we have to just continue to move forward as we learn new information.
Please explain the 16 in-person, 9 online size relative to the cohort. X of all the 7th graders, how will you make the determination allocation?
So if I understand the question, you want to know why we chose the number 16. I talked a little bit about this, but in walking the classrooms and seeing how many students we could safely put in that classroom, and in speaking with the district in terms of what their numbers, what they were recommending as well, that's where we came up with the number 16. So the remaining pieces of the cohort, the 9 students, have to be virtual in order to be safe. That being said, if I have one cohort, like we have 2 7th grade classes. If I have one cohort, which is 7A, which has 25 students who want to be in person, and I only have 7 or 8 in the next cohort, I will be moving students between those cohorts to make sure that we can balance and allocate who's in the classrooms. I hope that answers your question, so that we're maintaining the 16 or less students in each classroom. If that doesn't, please respond to that in the chat and I'll try to answer that.
Can I actually ask a follow-up question to that?
Sure.
So if you do move a 7th grade student from 7A to 7B,
yes,
the only thing that will change would be the other kids in the class.
Yes.
Because all of the same subject are taught by the same teachers.
Yes, the only thing that changes is the cohort mix, and that the teachers are all the same for 6th grade, 7th grade, but whatever teacher your student currently has, that will be the same teacher that you have if we move you between cohorts. And that's only applicable to 6th grade and 7th grade.
If some kids go back and we stay home, will it change the home teacher?
It will not change the homeroom teacher. We've discussed, hang on a second. We have discussed how to manage that regardless, so we are keeping the same homeroom teachers.
The coach keeps the kids working out and laughing and being a part of the class. If his class is recorded, the kids at home are going to lose a lot. Can we work it out in a different way?
Well, the only way to have him participate on the field is to be able to have a camera and the Google Meet hardware out there, and there's no way to do that outside. It is unfortunate, but it is one part of the program that we're not able to do in a live situation. He's great. I have so much fun watching him with the students. I'm glad you like him too.
If this is so unclear and the dates can change, why go back at all? And have all the changes then a week after we need to close the school again? Why not wait for a few months until things clear?
So the mandate from the state is to get students back on campus and back in classrooms, but to do it safely. So the decision is being made based on the guidance and the guidelines, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we do it safely. As we've said multiple times, it continues to change, and we just are monitoring it, and we will do the best that we can to keep those students safe. I understand it's frustrating, but we do have a mandate to get students back on campus.
Yeah, and just to underscore that, your governor signed a bill or
Yes.
signed a budget that specifically stated that schools must reopen for live instruction whenever the health department allows it. And so that's why we are being forced to make this plan to reopen. But as Principal Fioretto said, we believe that your kids will be safest if you continue with distance learning. Okay, Dr. Beto Schubert responded to say that OCASA Charter PD days, so those are non-pupil days, are October 19th and 20th. Are students in distance learning able to meet their teacher on campus to have support and feedback if they need it?
That wouldn't be able to take place during the school day. We've not had that question raised yet. The problem is I don't have space to bring additional students on campus. All of our classrooms are used all day long. If a teacher was willing to do that, it would still be a virtual meeting. Like we discussed before, all meetings would be virtual, but you could schedule a one-on-one meeting with the teacher at a different time if you need that.
When will the lottery happen for determining which students get to return to in-person classroom?
We'll make sure that we have all of that to you at least a week before we open the school, before we do phase 1.
We have a couple of thank yous. You're all doing an amazing job with the online classes. Thank you, thank you. Second that, thank you. A third thank you. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Well, thank you for that. I think we are very fortunate to have the team of teachers who are so dedicated. I wish you could see the work that they were doing this week and how much collaboration was happening and how excited they are and how much they want to serve your students. It really matters to all of them, and I'm hoping you're seeing that in your instruction. It's challenging, and they're rising to that occasion, and we're grateful to have you along and hoping that we can get some final answers and move forward with this whole situation. But thank you all for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. As always, reach out to me if you have questions. I wish I could get to know you all in person, but eventually we may be able to do that again. You're welcome.